I'm sitting here with Kathy and Nathan Steele. Of course, everybody knows Kathy and Nathan and loves them. And, of course, Kathy now is our church secretary, and we're excited about that. She's doing a great job. But something significant has happened in their life, and they want to share a little bit from their heart. Kathy, you've been our church secretary for just a few weeks now, but if I'd come to you a year ago and said, you're going to be our church secretary, you would have probably laughed because you would have thought, that's not something I'm going to need to do because everything was going just right the way it was, but yet something happened.
Exactly.
Changed your whole world. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, about 4.5 months ago now, November 7th, our life changed forever. And most people know that my Johnny passed away. And, the last thing I would have ever expected that night was a phone call from you telling me to get over there. And I was in total shock. The main thing I remember is I just couldn't believe this was happening. I think I said it over and over. I just can't, this isn't really happening, but it was. And you come to a point where you have to just deal with it. And I didn't know what to do. There was a big question mark in front of my face. What are we going to do now? And how are we going to make it? I wasn't working, but I was keeping my grandchildren and loving it and homeschooling Nathan, and life was going along. But in an instant, it can change, and it did for us. But God's still there, and I know that now. It's just been such an amazing journey with the Lord, and I've been a Christian since May of '81. I've never been as close to the Lord as I am now.
Well, I can remember it was really days after it all happened that you and I sat down in my office for a little while, and I've made a comment to you that I noticed a glow. I noticed a change in your countenance, how it somehow God, the Holy Spirit had kind of kicked in and taken over some things in your life and given you strength that you hadn't had in other areas. And, we know that there are no accidents in God's kingdom. But is it not when we've been teaching these things our life, depending on God, rely on God for everything, but then when you actually have to do it, it's a different story, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, right. Well, that footprints verse, that means a lot to me now because God did carry me. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I didn't know what to do next, and he just kept telling me it's going to be okay, and he just carried me and worked out every detail, just one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. It was overwhelming at first, but you just have to. I just would pray every day, Lord, what do you want me to do today? And I just had a peace. It's like he put, it's like he put a salve over my heart, mm-hmm. and still to this day I have that peace. I miss Johnny so bad. He was such a wonderful person and such a big part of our life, and he was my best friend.
Yeah.
So I lost a lot that day, but I know where he is, and we'll see him again. And God just gives me that peace, and he's provided everything. He opened the door for the job, mm-hmm. and I know where I'm supposed to be. I love going to work every day. And I was concerned about Nathan's schooling, a homeschool, and he goes to King's Academy part-time. And I was like, how am I going to pay for that? Well, God worked that out too. So it's just amazing to watch him. And my faith has grown just by watching him take care of us and provide for us. And I'm just closer than I've ever been to the Lord.
Seems like our biggest growth times are when we're in our toughest times.
And, yes, that's
and Nathan, I wish that I could identify with you and say that I've been in the spot that you've been in as a young man that lost his father. I mean, this is a guy that you look up to as your hero. And so how have you dealt with that, Nathan? What's been going on with you?
Well, what it was that when the night it happened, when we were going over there, I was scared to death crying. And I just been holding up really good, and I've know it's been with the Lord's help.
Absolutely. What I was told about a gentleman that passed away a few years ago, and someone said this at his funeral, said, we're going to be a whole lot longer with him than we're going to be without him. Mm-hmm. And so, Nathan, maybe you could say this, something about this for other guys and girls your age that may not know Jesus yet, you know Jesus, and you have the strength that the Holy Spirit gives you. So, and I wonder, how does anybody face something like this without the Lord? So you can give a testimony and say, I don't know how I could have gone through this without Jesus, right? Absolutely.
That's right.